Hi everyone, I hope you are doing well. So today I wanted to create this little message on what you really should be focusing on your awakening journey. Now, the reason why I really wanted to do this message is because there seems to be, you know, a lot of different beliefs around what a spiritual awakening is. And it seems to be that a spiritual awakening has become the new buzzword being used by everybody, and sometimes, many a times, actually out of context, which is not going to be really helpful to your awakening journey and your ascension journey. Now, to be really more specific, if you take a look at a lot of content that's being created nowadays around a spiritual awakening or really waking up to what's happening in the world, people are starting to focus on what is wrong with what the governments are doing, what corporations are doing, and how it's impacting humanity. And while all of that is true and a part of where we are right now in the cosmic cycle, the Kali Yuga, it's not something for you to really focus on. And you want to really be cautious of this because it could impact your ascension journey. Now, the first reason why this is, of course, coming to the forefront is one, because all of this is happening at such a fast pace. It's happening at a rate that we've never seen before, which, of course, is all true. But there are a lot of people, that are waking up to the fact that this is occurring, which was more so hidden before. But what I want to kind of shed a light on right now is the fact that if we take a look at saints and mystics that have come throughout time, right? It doesn't matter where in the world, but some of the best mystics that we know of, east, west, does not matter. They have always asked us to focus on our own inward journey. They have never focused on the problems of the world, what's occurring on the outside, but for you to focus on your inward journey. There's a really famous quote by Ram Dass that says, "We're all just walking each other home." And, if you really just look at that in itself, it's talking about how do we really do that? How do we walk each other home? Well, if you, on a vibrational level, shift on your awakening journey, if you complete your ascension, you end up becoming a natural, person who has an impact in your environment. And you do that not by protesting on the outside, calling other people out on the outside, through independent journalism, none of that. It's by you changing yourself, your frequency, and that naturally has an impact on those around you, has an impact. It creates a ripple effect across the world, right? One person impacts another, one, further goes on, impacts another five, so on and so forth. So the key really here to focus on is how can you make a difference if, what is occurring in the world is really bothersome to you. How are you going to change things? How are you going to contribute in a positive manner? And the answer really is you need to shift from the inside out. And the reason why I'm really pointing this out is because right now there is a lot of content creators that are focusing on spiritual warfare, focusing on what's going on in the world that's wrong, picking sides, right? Good versus evil, all of that. But going back to your goal towards oneness and unity, what is oneness and unity? It's the realization that everything comes from this single, undivided field of presence or awareness, as we call it, which is the divine. Everything originates from that single field of awareness. Now, in a world of duality where we live, there is good and evil. So you're going to see the two sides. But as you are going towards that, state of oneness and unity, you come to the realization that everything eventually gets absorbed into that one single field. So truly, if you take a look at that single field and you get an understanding of it, you understand that there is no evil. And right, this is something Deepak Chopra will always say. There is no war, there is no evil. It all comes from that single field of awareness, which we call the divine. Now, with that being said, the reason why this is so important for you to understand and absorb for your inward journey is because if you really want to make a difference, you have to shift from the inside out. That's where your impact is going to be. On the other side of that, if you are focused on the division, if you are focused on the good versus evil, if you are focused on the spiritual warfare, you are focusing on the illusion of separation. And you truly have to understand that what you focus on will grow. So if you get caught up in some of the content that you're watching with really having these intense emotions about what's happening in the world, well, understand that then your attention is going towards that which you want to really focus on, that which is going to grow, which is taking you away from your goal of reaching oneness and unity. Really think about that on a deeper level, because if you are feeling very passionate about content that you might be watching, things that are hurting you, things that are making you angry, that is having a direct impact on your vibration, which you are actually trying to shift out of. You're trying to raise your vibration and you are trying to move towards that awareness where you can finally come to the realization through direct experience and meditation that everything is coming from that single and undivided field of awareness. And so that is going to impact you. That's going to keep you stuck on your journey, because how can you really ascend to that level when you are choosing to be stuck in separation? You are choosing to focus on those lower vibrational frequencies. You are choosing, to have these negative emotions get the best of you. So really, really pay close attention to where your time and energy is being spent, what you are focusing on, and the level of reaction that you are having from what you are absorbing, because that will give you a great clue as to what you need to remove from your awakening journey so that you can really move towards your true objective. So truly, just to give you a quick recap of what I've just kind of talked about here, you want to become the vibration that you wish to see in the world, because that is where your power is. When we always say things like, I'm here to raise the frequency of the planet, well, the way that you're going to do that is by shifting on this journey, moving to those higher states of consciousness, and then you create this massive ripple effect where others are then impacted by you, and then they begin their journey towards, from that negative polarity into that positive polarity as well. You've gone through that journey and are moving through that journey, and others will start to do the same as well. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope this was helpful. God bless.